starting.
Hi, we're here with Robert Gordon and Morgan Neville, whose documentary Best of Enemies premiered this week here at Sundance. Welcome, you guys.
Hi.
We're here on Main Street, as you can see. So congratulations on your world premiere. Everyone's abuzz about the film. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
It's fast and smart and funny, and there's great one-liners that I wish I could remember them all. I kind of want to read the whole transcript at some point. It's too bad Buckley and Vidal aren't around to see it, but... So how did these debates, which seem to be lost to history, even come to your attention? There were some bootlegs, I understand?
Yes, a friend of mine had came upon a copy of a bootleg disc and screened them at an art museum. The auditorium was full, all ages. When it was over, everybody stayed. They talked until the guards kicked them out. And my documentarian antenna were up, go, you know, and the footage is so captivating. And I checked on its availability, and it was just lying there waiting for us for like, what, 40 years.
Really?
And I called Morgan, said, I got one.
Yeah.
So was ABC into it? Were they open to?
I don't know if they were into it. They tolerated it.
Okay.
And they ended up...
It was a little, I mean, they were not averse to it.
Right. They actually come up as quite progressive to have this happen back in the 60s, you know?
No, and they've actually been great partners to work on the film. But, you know, the whole process, taking it here to Sundance, being able to show it to an audience for the first time after 5 years of working on the film has been great.
I feel like we're in this 50-year cycle. Like when I saw Selma, I was like, this is also, like, this could have been made, you know, except for they were all dressed up and looked very nice when they went to their protest. But this one just really had so many cyclical parallels as well. Did you see those right away? Is that what made
what
you
immediately captured me was two titans arguing about our culture, and it resonated so strongly with the present culture wars.
Right.
So it felt immediately like today, like this should be seen now.
But what's different today, right? So I feel like there's a lot of these pundits that, in some ways, they're putting on characters. Like you feel like the cameras go off and they go out and have dinner together.
Yeah.
And that's why I think your title is so great, because I kind of went in thinking they were going to maybe be frenemies, where they did that kind of thing, but they hated each other, right?
They hated each other, yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that I think to some extent Vidal and Buckley did play characters on TV, and Buckley had a TV show, Firing Line, for 30 plus years. And what I think is unique about this specific relationship between Vidal and Buckley was that it was the moment where their characters broke. You know, because there was something in each other that they saw that spoke to their core insecurities. And it's kind of what the film's about.
Right. And there have been moments like that where we've seen pundits today kind of crack that facade, like when Jon Stewart was on Crossfire at that time, right? I mean, so sometimes you see these hints of it, but it's so interesting to actually, I mean, what happened was so, I mean, you have to see the movie, everyone who's listening, but what happened was so explosive, and the whole time it was kind of simmering and up to this boiling point, and he just cracked, right? I mean, Buckley just kind of lost control, and that stuck with him forever, right? Till the end. Why do you think that was so?
It's kind of the only time that he ever lost control. He was a maestro of performance and character, and but this enmity between them was so deep and so real. You know, only in retrospect can you look back and see that plays like one long sinuous fuse going toward this beautiful explosion. And it seemed like it had to happen. It seems inevitable in a way, but it's not something that I think anybody foresaw.
Right.
Although they foresaw the fireworks.
So are you working, I heard, are you working to have these restored and put out into the world again? I mean, I would spend a weekend with these. No problem. I would binge watch. Yeah, exactly.
No, we've talked about it, but, you know, right now, you know, first things first, you know, to get this film out there in the world. And what's been encouraging here at Sundance is showing it to an audience.
Yeah.
And one of those things that people were asking us for years working on this film is it still relevant?
Yeah.
And the thing we get now is, I can't believe how relevant it is.
Of course,
you know, it's the thing that people seize on, because how did we get our current public debate? You know, how's the language and the grammar, how we talk to each other, Where did it come from? And we take it all for granted now. But
it came from
people,
this, you feel like?
Well, this was certainly one of the big triggers and milestones in it.
It's you know, we look at the we're all absorbed in TV today. You know, what is over half the nation was not around in '68. We're all a post-internet world, so this is what we live in, and it takes getting out of it and an image of these guys to help us be aware of an alternative way to be on TV. I mean, their manner is so different. There's a constant respect between them, even if it's fragile or cracked. You know, there's no you lie, or there's no you know, it's just a different way of behavior.
They're like worthy debate opponents, right? I mean, and there's some sort of like patrician element to it too, probably. Yes. But I feel like everyone was kind of more civil in times back then. And that's why some of the things we saw when they're not civil, you're like, they're
well, and it's one of these things we talk a lot about, the double-edged sword of what we're talking about, which is on the one hand, it was a patrician media society.
Right.
Prior back then in the 1960s. But on the other hand, the people that were on TV had real credentials.
Right.
Buckley and Vidal wrote scores of books each and really knew a lot about what they were talking about everything. And today, kind of anybody goes on TV and pretends to be an expert, and there's no meter for judging them.
Well, who do you guys watch? What do you watch? Where do you get your news?
NPR.
NPR, New York Times.
No TV?
I don't watch much TV myself, actually.
That's interesting.
I get it from my wife who watches TV.
But the pundits, like if it, on election night, do you watch?
Oh, election night, yeah.
You watch those kind of things, but not week to week. The Sunday morning shows are kind of.
No, I'm actually kind of tired of some of the Sunday morning shows because so often, particularly the first half, where they just have whatever administration official or whatever advocate for the other side on, you just feel like they're reading bullet points from a memo made up by a spin doctor.
They're going to go around and say 5 times.
Exactly, and I don't care about that. I don't want to hear that. And that's one thing that's so refreshing is neither Buckley or Vidal was ever a shill for any party line. And it's great to have somebody that's like a truly original thinker on TV.
It's interesting to see the way that Buckley actually maneuvers the party instead of having the party maneuver him.
Interesting.
You know, over the course of his career, he created the Reagan administration, basically, the Reagan ideals. And that was the greatest expression of Buckley's philosophy. So he spent his career reading out the radicals, the John Birchers and the like, creating this sort of sophisticated, conservative, libertarian-esque policy, only to face an insurrection later in his life and be trumped out himself because he wasn't radical and he wasn't right enough.
Right. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. I also just have to say, there's a cameo in your film of a movie star. So you do have a movie star in your film. You have Paul Newman shows up.
Yes.
Which is kind of awesome. Like, he's just kind of out of the blue. There's Paul Newman.
He and Gore were very tight friends.
Yeah.
And he shows up as a delegate at the '68 convention with the playwright Arthur Miller.
Right.
Great little scene.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But they actually spent the convention hanging out together, Buckley not Buckley, but Gore and Paul Newman, not Buckley. Buckley was in his own suite on the 14th floor of the Conrad Hilton.
Oh, I just have one more question about, like, technically, did ABC get fined for the?
No, they actually pulled the broadcast from the West Coast feed.
Oh.
And really tried to cover it up, but there was no.
The FCC kind of thing didn't really happen.
And at that time, it was the midst of the riots in Chicago, and I think people were thinking about other things.
It was noted. They, articles were written about, and some were very indignant. How could he say queer on national TV and say goddamn on national TV? So it really is a way to understand the difference in times.
And you also can't play it back over and over. Like at home, you couldn't go, wait, what did he say? Right? You have to.
Exactly.
It was like you heard it or you didn't. And it's kind of hard to hear the queer word. All right, so let's just talk about Sundance for a second. Like, are you having a good time? Have you been able to see any other movies? Or are you?
I've only seen one other movie. We're here for the whole time because we're in competition.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a bunch of movies in the second half.
Good.
But right now it's the end of the first weekend of Sundance, and it's kind of crazy. It's like a mob scene right here.
Streets will thin out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's.
And I think after business maybe gets done, we can go see some movies.
I guess you can't probably talk about the business side of things yet. But all right. Well, good luck. We hope to hear great things, and congratulations again.
Thanks.